Hello again. So we finished the PCT, but that did not mean that our trail journey was over. It's been a few days since I reached the northern terminus, and I've had a little bit of time to process everything coming to an end, and to be honest, it's quite weird. It still feels like I'm stuck between normal reality and trail life, and I can't really believe that I walked the entire length of the USA. Like, there are big gaps in my memory of the whole experience, which does make me a little bit sad that I don't have a crystal clear memory of everything that's happened. But on the other hand, that's why I put all of these videos on the internet. I'm very much looking forward to having them available for any time I want to reminisce in the future. Speaking of which, my aim with these videos was to document my entire trail experience, which in my mind is all of the time spent with the ducklings and other trail friends before I flew home. As we all know, it is the people that make the trail after all. So all of the clips playing at the moment are from the last few days spent doing things that have formed key memories of my Pacific Crest Trail experience. To summarise the events after reaching the terminus, the morning afterwards, we left the lake and started the official victory lap with continued congratulations along the 24 miles back to Harts Pass. And we had amazing views on the way back again. It was an amazing send-off in that respect. And I was right, it was nice to be able to hike back that section because when we left originally it was covered in fog, so it was really nice to actually be able to see the views and just see the northern Cascades expanding out before us. Birdsong set off a little bit before me and Scales because she wanted to get one last mountain peak sunrise in, which was a really good experience for her. And we caught up with her after lunch. And it was unexpectedly quiet on trail. We were definitely at the tail end of a bubble. It was weird going from having 30 people at least in front of us to coming back to, I think we only saw maybe 10, 15 people total across the entire day, which initially made me a little bit sad, like not to have as energetic of a return hike as we experienced on the way to the terminus, but it did make me grateful that we got to have that energy at all when reaching it, and that we were also able to be there to hype up the people on their way. And we got to experience the trail magic at Harts Pass again. It was beautiful. The big tents were there. We got dinner. There was Wi-Fi. We cowboyed there after having dinner. And with the Wi-Fi, I was able to let my family and some friends know that I'd finished and uploaded a whole bunch of YouTube videos. The next morning, we got a hitch all the way to Seattle. Luckily, there was someone who was coming for a fishing trip, so he gave us a ride, first of all, to the Mazama Bakery, which is one of those famous bakeries that everyone raves about, and it was a nice time, except for the wasps trying to eat my bagel. But other than that, it was wonderful. And so the guy who gave us a hitch, he went on his fishing trip midway through, so he dropped us off at a gas station where it was slightly stressful trying to find somewhere affordable to stay. But eventually we found an Airbnb for the following 3 nights that ended up being perfect for us and also for Tort Drippy and Jinx, and then a few other hikers that just kind of came and went. It was fun, kind of just little rotating wheel of hikers coming through. Before we got to the Airbnb, we had some tasty food in a vegetarian restaurant in Seattle. We actually saw some hikers on our way to the restaurant that made us feel a lot less alone in the big city. And eventually in the evening we got to the Airbnb, sorted out laundry and stayed up for a while watching fun little YouTube videos after giving up on finding a movie to watch. It was a very sweet way to end the day. And then to start our first proper day in Seattle, we had breakfast with the trail angel who'd been supporting Scales throughout the trail. So the one who'd taken her bear can and sorted out all of her resupply boxes at the beginning, so it was nice to meet them. And they gave us a little tour of Seattle as well, or at least the public market, where we went shopping and thrifting, getting kind of little trinkets and gifts and souvenirs for friends and family, and also some clothes to go out in. And then we also got some groceries so that we could make dinner for everyone. So I made the main course. Birdsong made some kind of a little appetizer or additional food, and then Scales made the dessert. And it was way too much food, but it was great fun, and everyone enjoyed it. And then we went out in the evening, which was fairly intense. I alternated between going outside and inside, but it was still a fun time with everyone. And then our second day in Seattle began with a very relaxed late breakfast, with Drippy going out to get bagels for everyone before we went out to explore downtown Seattle and the riverfront. We got some boba to begin with, went on the Ferris wheel, which was very exciting, although after many months of amazing views, a city front maybe wasn't the most exciting, but it was fun. We had a good time up in there. Got some fish and chips, which I was originally told by our hitch into Seattle rivaled English fish and chips, or was very similar to it, and I can confirm this was not the case. It did not live up to expectation. It was very tasty, but it was more like kind of mini fillets, like almost like chicken nuggets, but in fish form rather than a proper like cod piece. But I had a good time, and then we ended the day by visiting a map shop, which was a delightful time. There were many colourful maps. I wish I could have bought all of them, but there's not very much kind of the ultralight mindset to do that. But yeah, a lovely little way to explore town. And then we got back to our Airbnb, where this time the others, so Drippy, Tort and Jinx, made us dinner, and we watched a little bit of Twilight, and also celebrated kind of a pre-birthday for Birdsong, because her birthday was a few days after we finished the trail, but we wanted to celebrate it, so we got her a cake and a card. It was a wonderful time. And then for the day that we departed, there was quite a lot of pathetic fallacy around, in that we had lots of rain as we all made our separate ways home. Our original plan was going to an ornamental garden. This shifted because of the weather to going to a little, well, quite a big bookshop downtown. And before we left, we did our best to finish all of the leftovers from the two very large 3-course meals we'd previously created. And I think we did a pretty good job. I think we got most of it. The bookshop was a lovely time. It was very cute. It did gradually get more sad as it kind of hit us that we'd only have a few more hours together. We've just been so used to each other's company, like Ducklings and everyone else, extended Ducklings included in that as well. We did have an emotional extended goodbye, as is Duckling tradition, and it was so extended that someone who was sat next to us at the table took some photos of the moment because they thought it was so wholesome, although they did then, a few minutes later, leave the table because I think we went on for a while. But they needn't have bothered taking any photos, because so my cousin came to pick me up and drive me very kindly all the way back to Portland, so I could then spend some time with my US family. So he came to pick me up, and as we were getting lunch, just before we drove off, we saw Scales and Birdsong leaving the bookshop, so we got to give them a lift to the airport. So as has been the way throughout the whole trail, we had another goodbye that was much more low-key, because we'll keep running into each other. We'll see each other again. We've got plans for next year, at least. So yeah, it is not the end, and I am not worried about it. We're going to stay in touch. It's going to be a wonderful time. And yeah, eventually my cousin and I arrived in Portland, and that marked the end of my trail journey, where I then spent some time with my family there before I flew back home. So yeah, that was my last few trail adjacent days in a nutshell. But I also wanted to talk a bit about what I learned from my experience overall, just to kind of get more of an in-depth look at it, and also for myself when looking back at this, just to remember what I actually got out of the trail. So, first of all, everyone talks about poop a lot. And incidentally, I would recommend avoiding eating too many oats when on trail. And if your body can handle eating 2 ramen packets for dinner for almost every day for 5 months, I'm quite jealous. But that aside, the openness that everyone had to talk about their bowel movements was just a big example of how open and friendly the vast majority of people were on trail. I very much enjoyed being able to strike up conversations with pretty much any hiker. Yeah, the community really is one of the most special things about life on the PCT. The other thing is that the trail provides, and it really, really does. Someone tried to ruin the magic for me by saying that a lot of the magic is just statistics. Like, for instance, with the number of people who are on trail at once, all carrying very similar gear, the chances are that someone will have a spare of the thing that you will need, which is true. But despite this, I am so grateful for the generosity shown to me by so many hikers and trail angels and just people around the trail. I'm never going to forget that ice cold Mountain Dew given to me after the sweltering heat of Hat Creek Rim. That was truly a special moment. Another thing I learned is that you are always in at least a little bit of pain on the trail. By the end, I almost quite enjoyed finding out what the pain of the day was going to be. That might sound a little sadistic, but I was actually quite lucky to avoid any serious pain or injury for the majority of the trail. Like, I knew a lot of people that were really pushing through a lot for a long time, and I have a lot of admiration for them. Even so, I'm also grateful for getting to be so in tune with my body. I've heard others talking about it, often just kind of being your mind and body on the trail as you're walking along. So it is very easy to be aware of how you're feeling physically. And it might sound strange, but I think I'm going to miss that sense of kind of trust in my body and the confidence gained by learning what kinds of pain would leave by the next morning and what I could just kind of, put up with for a day. But who knows? Maybe it did make me more resilient. I also felt like I gained a stronger acceptance that things always work out in the end. As a project manager in life and very much not in my comfort zone at the beginning of the trail, I started by trying to control all the little details and just like where we're getting water, what the plan for each resupply was. But gradually, and mainly thanks to the rest of my trail family, who were much better at just going with the flow, I relaxed and I learned how to be much more adaptable with potential problems as they came up. I think that's probably the thing that I'm most proud of in terms of what I learned on trail, and it made the second half of my PCT journey far more enjoyable. And speaking of changing mindsets, it was interesting to observe how my perception kind of changed from the adventure being a once-in-a-lifetime thing to being immersed in a culture where so many people live to hike, and they live like basically on trail, and they've made through hiking a lifestyle. So yeah, we'll have to see whether I do another through hike or if I'm content with fitting shorter hikes in around being employed full time. But I would say, if you're watching this because you're thinking about doing the PCT or going on some other potentially life-changing adventure and you're in a position to do it, I fully recommend it. You never know what the future holds, so if you have the opportunity, I can only say to go for it. Take that chance. But yeah, I hope I can bring some of the things I learned back with me. Maybe not talking about poop all the time, but it would be amazing if I could maintain some of the magic, generosity and openness in my daily life. So that's pretty much it. I'm back home now, staying with my family and looking for a job while doing my best to avoid falling too deeply into post-trail depression. It is a bit daunting, feeling like I'm restarting my life all over again, but so was starting the PCT, and look how that turned out. Thank you to everyone for watching along and supporting. I know I've had supporters all over the world, so thank you to family, friends based in Cornwall or other areas, and family and friends of the people that I hiked with. I hope you enjoyed getting to see the people you know go on this adventure. And yeah, just I hope everyone had a wonderful time, and I look forward to saying hello to future me. But yeah, who knows? Maybe I'll see you again before too long.